Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another NIKKE reaction, and today we have Dirty Backyard. Finally, I'm getting to Dirty Backyard. It's been so long. Why haven't you gotten to Dirty Backyard yet? You should listen to Dirty Backyard. There's so many people who have requested Dirty Backyard in basically the history of me getting to NIKKE, and finally, we're here, and I'll be listening to it. It finally was able to, like, climb through the trenches and make its way out the other side as, like, the one that got the most NIKKE-specific requests, albeit there was a lot of people wanting me to get to other Stellar Blade stuff. I'm sticking to NIKKE specifically for this one, so here is finally Dirty Backyard, and it only took that for me to get to it. So let's go! Alright. I can already hear the Cosmo pulsating synth underneath it. I can already hear that bass work being laid down. Give me that acid. Hell yeah. I've been like really on this genre. You can blame Zenless Zone Zero for that. I mean, I've always loved it, but my recent exposure to it has been almost entirely through that game. But it's still Cosmo, so I wonder if he's gonna do something weird with it. He might keep it true to form, though. I could see either one happening.
Bass.
See, like, he's throwing some things in there, like that, dun, 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 like that falling. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, I like that pause there. Nice, like, reloading for the sound design, too. Or is that a shell ejection? Could have been either. Okay, that was a shot. So yeah, he's keeping it very steady to the genre, which I appreciate. I loves me some good acid synths. Hell yeah. I'll get into why I like this so much, of course, but we just gonna jam. Nice. Nice. Has to be getting close to the end now. Unless he's got another surprise for me.
Bass.
Nope. Keeping it steady. Again, I kind of prefer that in this case. I love that upbeat ride it. Nice on the bell. And we get the fade out. Hell yeah, Cosmo. That's what I'm talking about, brother. So like I said at the beginning, I've been loving this genre a lot recently. It's been brought back into the forefront for me because of Zenless Zone Zero, but that's not exclusively why I like it. I've always been a huge fan of acid synth EDM. It's just always been one of those sounds that has resonated well with me, sometimes literally. And the reason for that is because it's always so true to what it is. It's simple, but it's full. It has a lot of low end that just kind of drags you along, and you're just like, hell yeah. Like, no matter what you do, you feel the beat. No matter how the song is made, you feel that rhythm, especially when it's mixed so well. And I mean, it's Cosmo. We all know how good he is with production value. There's this constant like acid synth he likes to put into stuff, and I love that, and I've always enjoyed that I get to hear that back in there because it is such a good groundwork to have. But then for this, it's basically like letting Cosmo do something that he's always wanted to do, because he's always thrown in these little nuggets of acid synth and pretty much everything else I've heard from him. If it's subtle or if it's really, really obvious, either way, it's still in there somewhere most of the time. But I love this so much because it sounds exactly like something that Cosmo wanted to make himself. Like, it wasn't something they were like, hey, can you do this? They were just like, you know what? We want you to make whatever the hell you want to do. And he was like, finally, and was able to throw in everything he wanted to do into one track. Now, this isn't necessarily an acid synth track I would categorize in any of the popular ones for like acid synth specifically, like acid house or acid trance especially. Maybe a little bit of acid techno. It kind of has a closer tone to that, but this is a lot slower. And I could see this reminding a lot of people of cyberpunk as a whole, albeit, yeah, a lot of cyberpunk is that acid techno, acid house sound. It's kind of where they grew that, you know, like at least audio wise. If you want to get really technical about it, that's what dark synth is. And that's kind of what this is actually. Like, if I had to give it a real classification, this would be dark synth. And I'm not entirely sure if that was intended, but that's exactly what the sound is. It's a slower version of what acid house and acid techno was. And that was a little bit more clubby. It was a little bit higher upbeat, you know, it just had some like extra tone up there. It was a little bit bouncier. This is slow, methodic, heavy, and just taking its time. It almost sounds like you're being pulled through a sludge in a way. And to an extent, by name, Dirty Backyard kind of fits with that. So I'm kind of digging that actually as an approach. So this is probably meant to be dark synth. It has that aesthetic going for it. And that is usually what people associate when they hear cyberpunk as a word and as a genre. They think of dark synth. Other people might think of synthwave, and that's totally a valid option, but at the same time, when you're thinking specifically cyberpunk, usually it's that more like down and gritty sound, that like worn down dystopian variant of synthwave, which would be dark synth. So I think that all works out really well. And just again, this sounds like something that Cosmo has always wanted to make. The mixing is absolutely clear as day in this song. It has all of that low end really keeping the bass line, like I mentioned. It is just holding the line there, and everything else just kind of doing its deal on the top. Not too much on the top either. There was that like like that chromatic step down through the song, and I do like that inclusion because that's not something I'm used to hearing in this genre. So that felt a little bit like Cosmo was kind of doing his own thing there, you know? And that's great. As a composer, I would assume that's one of the things you really want, is something that feels a little bit more like it's a your signature sort of approach. And for Cosmo, I think a lot of that signature sound is the stuff he throws in that's like acid synth adjacent, and just kind of throwing that in, sprinkling into wherever he can in his existing tracks. And it's like, there you go, that's your signature. But this just kind of felt like it's all Cosmo. Like, there was nothing being held back. There was no excuses. He was just doing exactly what he wanted to do. And it didn't feel like he was basically making somebody in a boardroom happy with it. You know, he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna make this. And they were like, understood, and they just let him go. And sometimes that's the best thing you can do for a composer. Sure, composers are kind of there to be a little bit flexible and to work with producers to be able to create the sound for the world, but once in a while, you just want to utilize somebody's true to form artistry and allow them to do whatever the hell they wanted. I could be entirely wrong on that, by the way. It's very possible Cosmograph doesn't even like dark synth and just made this because somebody asked him to, but he did it so well that it's kind of tricking me if that's the case, and I would be honestly impressed because I have such a love and respect for this genre and this feel and the acid synth as an instrument, where that came from, the original synth for that, and how much relevancy overall the Roland TB-303, which is the original acid synth, has kept kept. It's so relevant to this day, obviously. So like, that's just a kind of respect thing for me. I love it when things can just make their own little niche in the music world and stay there and matter so much so many decades later because it had such an iconic sound. And that's why I enjoy it so much. So just hearing more of it here, and even though it's heavily modified for this one, obviously you have to do that. It's a synth. You're allowed to modify it, but the core of it is still very much familiar. And that's what makes it so flexible and so fun to mess around with, is the fact that you have so many options with something that is so small. You know, the TB-303, it's not big. It's like this big, and something that big is still cranking out bangers and synths that people use to this day and always have been and always will be, while sounding so original every single time, even if it is literally a copy. And sometimes, most of the time nowadays, it is just like a DAW copy of it. There are dozens of programs literally out there just to replicate the sound of the 303. So it's awesome. I love it. I've always had a respect for it, and even more so when I hear songs like this that just really sell why it's such an important, valid piece of equipment to this day, and making amazing songs with it. So this got really weird, giving you kind of like a light history lesson on this sound and this synth, but hopefully you all liked that, because that's like my favorite part of this song. The song itself was of course a banger as expected from Cosmo, but it also gave me an excuse to talk about something in music history that a lot of you probably don't know about. So I think that's really cool too, just the ability to share that information for those who are interested enough in music and production to want to know that information. There you go. But I think I'm done yapping here, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to anything else from NIKKE, by all means drop it in the comments below and I will do my best as always. Or if you want me to get to like Stellar Blade or something, I could also do that. Let me know whatever it is down below, I will do so. But otherwise, if you just enjoyed this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!